learn how to count. You know, I had to use all kind of cars as examples. You know, we did the Frank Laubach learning system. I don't know if anyone knows that, but that's what we did. And I began because people heard about me in jail. In jail, you're only as good as your reputation. So they heard about me, and so I kind of could talk to some people, you know, especially the guys who were ashamed to admit that academically I'm not too, you know, advanced or I'm not too smart. So with that being said, I started teaching people and guiding people to get their GEDs. So in Camp Hill,
what's a GED?
For their diplomas. High school equivalent.
Okay, does everybody understand that? If you don't graduate from high school, you can take classes, right, and then get a diploma.
General equivalency.
General equivalency diploma. Okay?
So that's what I was doing, and so after a while, people started noticing me in jail. You know, and I started feeling good. So I started lifting weights. I started lifting weights, and I said, wow, this following Jesus thing ain't too bad. You know, staff coming to me, you know what I mean? And the library, my boss of the education department, she said, you're really doing a good job. And I never noticed or knew, but she was watching me to see if my walk was true. And she went to the principal of the school to talk to them about how good of a job I was doing. So at this time I had helped about 40-some people get their GEDs. And they took me into the warden's office. And I'm so scared thinking, oh my God, what did I do now? You know, and they took me into the warden's office and they say, hey, listen, you're doing an outstanding job. Someone wants to meet you. And I was like, his name was Worley Pace. He's the head of education in Camp Hill. And I was like, wow. And he was like, listen, you're doing a wonderful job, and we're talking to the warden, and we want to put paperwork in to get you out of jail. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And I was like, are you serious? They were like, yeah, we want to get you out of jail. We think you changed your life. The pastor and all them there. And I wasn't doing it to get out of jail, because I didn't know they could do that. You know what I mean? I was doing it because I wanted to change my life. I didn't want to die in prison. I didn't want to keep doing this stuff. You know what I mean? And all my mothers and all my sisters are pastors, all my family's Christians. I was the only black sheep, you know. And they gave me tough love. They would send me $20 a month for years in prison. But anyway, so after that went on, I kept going to them. Am I going to get out soon? And they would say, just wait, it's a process. So lo and behold, down the road, they said, here's your date of release. And at that moment then, you know how people say a light came on, or they say something to the effect of, the Lord spoke to me, or this happened in life. That was what it was for me. Oh my God, I'm getting out of jail 3 years early. You know, and the blessing was my wonderful, beautiful wife waited on me. We weren't married at that time. And she picked me up, you know. They placed me in a prison, a county prison, for a work release. And I was like, nah, this is not what they told me they were going to do. So they didn't say put me in no more prisons. They said they were going to release me. So I had to fight them. I had to write to the presidents, the senators, the mayors, and I began fighting, publicizing it. You didn't tell me you were sending me to no more prisons. You said you were releasing me. Well, God blessed us, for they transferred me out of there rather quickly, huh, honey? They sent me up to Scranton. This was a federal halfway house. So I've been there, and I said, nah, this is not where you said you was going to send me here either. You know what I mean? So before them, I was about 2 weeks, honey, or something. I was in there about 2 weeks. And at this time, a place called Agape, it's a Christian nonprofit agency, was across the street. There was a business, and you can go over there look for jobs, and talk to the pastors, and even eat. And this lady named Karen, I used to go over there and talk to her all the time about what I wanted to do. You tell me all the time. And that's what I did. You know, I began working. And the funny part was when you have a gap in your history as far as my last job was in 1988. You know what I mean? And 20-some years later, no employment, nothing. Now, keep in mind, on the little humorous side, I'm a little darker than beige. So I'm going for a job at this time, you know, and I'm technically on home detention from federal custody. Technically. You know what I mean? So I have to tell the employer, the feds are going to be coming here periodically to make sure I'm here and checking on it. Could you imagine that? You know what I mean? They're like, well, wait a minute. We can hire people from the streets. We don't have to deal with this mess, you know? But anyway, this lady Karen from Agape, because I couldn't have my license or drive or anything, you know, because the feds got to approve everything. Everything you do, the feds must approve it or you can't do it. So we were fighting to get my license and fighting. So this lady Karen gave me a bicycle. So I'm riding all over Bloomsburg and Berwick, PA, on a bicycle, looking for a job. And when I finally met this lady, her name's Kim. And I said, listen, before I go into any detail, I want to show you something. So I have wrote up the paper. I had my woman type it all up, a contract that I'll work for you for 2 weeks for free. And if you're not satisfied, you don't have to pay me. So that's what I handed to her. I said, now let me tell you, I'm in federal custody. I said, I'm in federal custody. I said, I used to shoot people, I used to rob banks and all this kind of stuff. She said, oh my God. She said, well, how many banks did you rob? I said, well, you're going to find out when they come. I have over 300 felonies on my record. I said, I never did one crime and stop. I would just keep going for months and months and months, robbing banks. You know, and she said, unbelievable. She said, well, give me some time to think about this. And I said, well, I came on too strong. I'm not going to get that job. So I had an apartment. And Liz used to bring the kids up every week, all the way up to Berwick. You know what I mean? To see me and spend the weekends with me. And she called me the very next day. She said, Randy, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to hire you. And I was like, yes. Because what the feds want is 30% of your income. You know what I mean? And if you give them 30% of your income, they will allow you to remain in your own apartment and not back in prison. They take their money from the front. You know what I mean? So I'm in there and I'm working hard. I mean, I'm working. And she has cameras all over the work floor. She put these up there because of me. And she was wonderful. She was wonderful. And she said to me, Randy, do you have furniture in your apartment? I said, well, we had an old chair in there. And she says, well, listen, here's some money. Go get it furniture. But you're paying me back. You know, and she began mentoring to me. You know, she was a lady, the only lady, and to this day in Berwick, who's in corporate business up there, partners, because Berwick is a small little town with mostly Italians who own the companies up there. There's like 7, 8 businesses that 4 of them own all of them. You know what I mean? And so she told the other owners of the company about me. You know what I mean? Because in my mind, I'm thinking, I gotta prove myself. I gotta prove myself. You know, so I'm doing extra work. I'm doing everybody's work. I'm running here. But then I didn't realize the guys I'm working with were getting mad at me. Because I'm doing their work, and they're thinking I'm trying to make them look bad, and now they all found out I'm a federal prisoner, so they would go to her. And she says, don't need you to go to me. I'm watching him on the camera. And I'm out there going crazy. Take my shirt off, and, you know, I'm just going crazy. And it's a plastic processing plant. And then on break times, I will go in there and talk to her. Now, her husband was a wonderful older guy, but he was a working machine, and I used to talk to him about business, you know, and to this day, we're in touch with her. She stays in touch, you know, and I said, well, Kim, I want to get out of here. I want to go home. But the feds didn't want to transfer me back down to the Eastern District, which was where I lived. They wanted to keep me in the Middle District, which was to keep an eye on me, you know, because I'm out of jail early, And I've been smart enough, so they say, to get past the little stuff. And then once you give me a little room, I run into banks. You know, so they were like, we want to keep an eye on him. But again, I start writing the presidents, senators. I will go in their offices, the senators, call the governors up. Hey, listen, I paid my dues. I did this. The jail did this for me. You know what I mean? I'm working. Why do I have to stay way out here? My family's not out here. Again, the Lord allowed them to transfer me back home. But it took a while. But the whole thing of it is I'm looking for a place back home, and I'm still in the work center up there. I'm still doing my thing up there. And so I had to drive all the way down from Berwick down here to find a place. You know, my wife works, but it takes two incomes nowadays, you know. So God blessed us. We came down here, found a place, went back and let them know, found a place, let me go. You know what I mean? And they let me go. You know, and I came out, hit the ground running. You know, working 2 jobs. You know, at this time, she was pregnant. And bottom line is, I got thrown from a truck at work, workman's comp, and the lawyers were litigating, wouldn't pay me. So I had to go back to the state representatives again. Hey, listen, I'm working hard. Do something for me. Help me out here. Welfare denied me. I wasn't working long enough. I made too much money when I was working. Workman's comp, you can't collect when you, unemployment, you can't collect when you're waiting workman's comp. So now I'm like, well, look, I have a family of 5. Something's going to have to happen. So I went to Jim Cox's office, a state representative. And he says, Randy, go to the churches. And I was like, go to the churches? I do go to church. What do you want me to do? He says, go tell them about your situation. Now keep in mind, my life, 40-some years of my lifestyle, to have to go ask a stranger for help for your family. I thought God humbled me in them places, but that was more humbling to me than anything. To have to admit and open up and explain to people, listen, I did all I could do. The doctors won't let me work. I have no income coming in. And they said, go over to Calvary Church. Now, I was going to church in Reading. I said, Calvary, I see it. So I walked in there and met a guy named Aaron Mulberry. And I guess he must have seen that I was beat up or whatever. And he says, well, Randy, let me introduce you to somebody. So he took me to Pastor Wayne Griswold, who he listened to me, didn't interrupt me, and I poured it out to him. And he said, come on, let's pray. We prayed, and as he took my hands, he had a whole thing of food cards in his hands. I was like, what? You know, Redners, go get food for your family. You know, and the world I come from, you know, people don't give you nothing. You know, if you ain't taking it, you're lost. So I went home and I told Liz, and I said, she says, really? I said, yeah. Now, he has me thinking now, Pastor Wayne. So I call him up and I start talking to him more and more and more. He says, bring your family and come to church. That's what I did. And I started telling him, I said, Pastor, something got to give. Something got to change. You know what I mean? And he says, Randy, he says, trust in God. So we're on our way to her parents' house, who live in Mohrsville. And we see a sign on the building. And so I call him with no money. And a wonderful gentleman and his wife comes out. And we talk. And they've been amazing to me. That's my landlord and his wife. They've been amazing to me. Amazing. Amazing. And I appreciate you, I really do. And they agreed to give me their building.